Welcome to the MSP Corner podcast. Before we kick off our show, we would like to share what our main objective is at the MSP Corner. Our main goal is to help CEOs build profitable and self-sustainable IT service firms. We are not just providing tools for IT firms, we will be sitting in meetings with you to ensure your IT firm stays on track. The first area we are focused on, strategic sales. IT firms are stuck selling technology or IT support. We will provide you with the blueprint so you position your firm as an added value to your prospects. We will have framework on how to sell value so you influence the prospect into selecting your firm. The second area we see many IT firms struggle in is marketing. 90+% of businesses rely on antiquated marketing methods. The most popular choice, word of mouth. We have proven methods on how to attract the ideal prospect. Our framework will include how to become the online authority and be the business influencer for an industry. The third component to our package, scaling. IT firms walk away from opportunities because they lack the bandwidth or skill set to scale. We have lined up reputable businesses so our members can hire on-demand resources that will allow them to scale their business. The fourth area we will offer help in, selecting the right tools. In order to deliver value, you need the right tech stack. Our platform will offer information on products that are the ideal choice for MSPs. The fifth area we will offer help in is with documentation. Templates are a critical component when building an MSP. We will have contracts, proposals, SOWs, collateral, and much more in the template section. You will have every document you need to start up your managed IT service business. Thank you for tuning in. Let's go to our next podcast. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the MSP Corner podcast. I am your host, Fernando Leon, and I am joined by my co-host, Gregory Moravietz. And today we have our guest is Shahar Ben Hador from Radiant Security, and he is the CEO and co-founder of Radiant Security. Shahar is a longtime practitioner in the security industry with previous experience, including CISO of Imperva, as well as VP of Product Management at Exabeam. His experience on both the industry and he's on the vendor side of cyber gives him some unique perspectives that should be fun to explore in this podcast. And just a little plug on Radiant Security. It's an AI-powered SOC co-pilot aimed to help SOCs harness the power of AI. Radiant helps MSPs make more money by setting up and maintaining cost-effective security operations center capable of finding more attacks and responding faster at a fraction of the cost. So let's learn more on how IT firms can implement a full-on SOC with little investment, and let's kick this next show off. Shahar, thanks for joining us. I know you're a busy guy. You're building a company out there, and we're very grateful for you joining us today. So I'm gonna kick this show off. And Greg, if you ever want to step in and ask questions, please, because I got a list of questions here for Shahar. But Shahar, just give us a little comprehensive summary on what your business is about.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having me, Fernando and Gregory. I'm really excited to be here on this podcast today and tell you more about Radiant Security. And so we are a venture-backed software company that develops AI engine that performs security operations work. We call our product AI-powered SOC Copilot. And with Radiant, teams can find more real attacks, slash the remediation times dramatically, and boost productivity. Attacks are found by automatically triaging and investigating every security alert with AI so that nothing slips through the cracks. Radiant generates an incident summary, root cause analysis, and customized response plan that can be executed with a single click of a button. And that happens for every incident. And unlike other tools that generate more alerts, Radiant helps you eliminate the mountain of alerts clogging up your SOC, eventually making you more efficient. And if you're an MSP, you can make more money and scale your business. We prevent those incidents from becoming breaches so you or your customers don't end up in the news.
Now, Shahar, is this working in conjunction with like SIM and EDR? So you have to have SIM in place, EDR. Does your tool, your AI tool, does it, so we don't have to have as many security analysts looking at data, or is this replacing a SIM, or what is it replacing? Is it replacing anything, or is it more replacing people?
Yeah, so great question, Fernando. And let me tell you, how we designed the tool. So we know that none of you want to replace their tools, let alone your endpoint solution that you worked so hard and invested so much time in deploying into all the endpoints and the servers or the firewalls. So we integrate with everything you already have. No need to replace any tools. We're a SaaS product, so you don't need to deploy anything. It's pure cloud. Setup takes less than an hour and no SIM required. You don't need to have a SIM to work with us. We can work in conjunction with your SIM, but you don't need one.
Interesting. All right. Well, that's good to know because the SIM is such a powerful platform collecting data. So yours is replacing it. All right. Well, that's good to know. So the value behind all this, what value do you offer MSP businesses? Because, a lot of these guys are, they're one-man shows, or they're, less than a dozen people at their shops. They already struggle with compliance, keeping up with compliance, and keeping up with the expertise. You're essentially providing them with a full-on SOC. Is that right? So they don't have to hire additional people, or can you explain a little bit about the value you offer for MSP businesses?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And let me tell you, a little bit about my background. So, beyond the fancy titles that I got in recent years, I started my career in IT 25 years ago when I worked for my old man, and he had an MSSP business. Just like many other business owners. It was my dad and a partner, and we were about 10 techs. I was one of the techs, and we did a lot of IT work, a lot of work on servers, backups, everything that you guys do every day. But we struggled with offering anything security. It was just too hard, with the knowledge that we had to offer serious security services. And so this is to me like almost like a closure, enabling businesses like the business that my old man had, to really go and overnight transform their business into providing security services. And why they can do that? Because with AI enabled security operations, you don't need, the security experts. Your IT guy can operate it. The same person who's fixing, the server, who's installing new software, updating those workstations. They can now do that just because the AI is so good at explaining what have happened in plain English. So you don't need all the technical jargon, to understand what have happened. And it
Interesting. All right. Okay. All right.
and eventually it all comes down to business impact, right? So, lots of security products and services offer with some, technical jargon that doesn't translate into business. Like they may tell you there was a registry entry that was entered. What does it mean? Right? What's the business impact? So we at Radiant translate everything into business context. So what identities were compromised? What devices were compromised? Was there any data that got stolen? And so these are the things that people understand, and especially in small businesses where they don't have, the large security team that a company like Bank of America can afford. That is super important to enable them to understand what have happened in plain English.
Interesting. That sounds like a lot of MSP. Well, because I know a lot of IT firms in general, they don't know about this remarkable technology you can offer, right? It's just they're so entrenched with their own work that it's our goal to educate them about companies like yourself, because you can bring so much value to an organization that is that lacks that experience, that lacks the bandwidth, that lacks the technology. So it's great that you guys are bring that value to the MSP business. Now,
Yeah, and it's
where
really a a turnkey SOC service because it's an evidence that 50% of our customers already have their workflows fully automated, meaning even that IT guy that I mentioned can operate that. They're not needed for some of the workflows. And so
interesting.
when when potential in some of those workflows, our AI can fully automate, and this is configurable. So MSP owners, you can configure it to be fully automated or require your person to take a look before taking action.
Mhm.
But it fully automates the remediation, but also the communication to all the stakeholders involved, whether that's the owner of the endpoint or whether that's the IT manager or the owner of the data that hopefully doesn't get stolen, but too often does.
Yep. Yep. So where is AI, in your opinion, where is AI needed the most in the SOC?
Great question, Fernando. I think that the main place where it's needed is to bring the expertise. This is the one thing that AI have not yet fully taken over. Right. So, AI is doing a relatively good job in detecting of incidents for years, right? Your firewall does this, your endpoint product does this. But where AI is missing the most, and that's what Radiant is doing, is tying all these dots together, connecting the dots and understanding what have happened and from there how to remediate. So that's the main thing, kind of filling this knowledge gap on how to
Mhm.
tie up all these points into an actionable plan is where it's missing.
Mhm. All right. Good to know. Now, MSPs need something they could build a business on. Is AI in a spot where it can be trusted enough to perform these type of tasks? Because this is critical, right? You got a critical organization with critical data and sensitive data and IP. Can is AI at that spot where it can be? It's a trusted source to be part of the organization or the SOC.
Yeah, great question. It's I think a lot of people are concerned with, is AI going to take over the world? Like, is it going to control my machines, right? And
Yeah.
I think the quick answer is that humans are not going away. All right. And the best thing about it is that humans are simply going to be able to do so much more, because AI is helping them.
Yep.
And so with the help of AI, you can do more. And what it really means for you is it all comes down to bottom line. This is how you make more money. If with the same, expenses, with the same team, now you can offer additional services, go deeper and go faster. That's exactly how you make more money and how you scale your business. And that's why we've started Ready on Security.
Interesting. All right. What technology would an MSP need in the stack to make this work? I mean, because I can tell you right now, Gregory and I, when we're talking to, let's say, a medical office, for example, they have a long list, right? They want SIM in place, they want EDR, they want vulnerability scanning, they want multi-factor authentication, they want security awareness training to keep their people educated on phishing attacks. We have log collection. I mean, there's like 7 or 8 tools, and then compliance reporting for HIPAA compliance. So there's like 7 or 8 layers or tools we're implementing. What technology would I need to for your stack, right? What are you providing so my clients feel okay? I feel warm and fuzzy. This is all good. I'm good. I'm going to be compliant, and I'm going. I have every layer in place. Does your tool replace 99% of those tools, or does it replace half of them? What technology would I need in my stack to make this work?
Let me offer, another angle as to what, people should be looking for. You
Okay.
should be looking for outcomes and not for tools. Like there is, thousands of security vendors out there that will sell you whatever you're willing to buy. But it
Okay.
all comes down to what are the outcomes that you want to achieve. And then you can build your stack around these outcomes. And I feel that one of the first outcomes that people want to achieve is to not get breached. This could be ransomware, this could be phishing, this could be, other malware, this could be network attacks, etc. So I think that that's, the first outcome that people are looking for. Second outcome that people are looking for is compliance. They need to be compliant because their customers require that they are compliant with several regulations. And so you need to be compliant. And last but not least, you need to do all that efficiently. And these are the outcomes that we are ready and focused on. And we support your tech stack. Yes, we'll give you an excellent view on which products in your tech stack are doing a good job and which ones are not doing a great job for you. We'll give you that visibility, but it's totally up to you because, as I said, a lot of it comes down to the third outcome, which is doing things efficiently. So if one firewall is working just 10% below its competitor, but its competitor costs 3 times as much or require 3 times as much work to maintain, it probably doesn't worth it. And that's why I'm saying it all comes down to your outcomes. And it's always the three outcomes. You have to be secure and not get breached. You have to be compliant, and you need to do this efficiently. This is true for any business, all the way from a Fortune 100 company to a 10-person company, which is a family business supporting a village of families.
Sure. Sure. Okay. Okay. Good to
But to answer
know.
more directly, as I mentioned before, a SIEM is not required, right? We take the data directly from the sources, we integrate directly with your products. So a SIEM is not required. And we give you an holistic view of everything that have happened within all your products. So you as a business owner and your teams who are looking at these alerts can remain super efficient. We automate for our customers more than 90% of the alerts that they're getting. Meaning, instead of working on 100 alerts a day, an analyst now need to work on 10 alerts a day. Meaning, you can take 10x more customers with the same team.
Wow. Wow. That's really good to know because yeah, there's as you know, I'm sure there's thousands and thousands of alerts that I'm sure Gregory and his team have to deal with, but that the AI is helping reduce that amount of false positives, right? We don't want to have to deal with what they call it is alert fatigue, right? So the AI will never have alert fatigue.
Exactly. Computers don't get fatigued. Computers are actually excellent at doing repetitive jobs. They
Right.
will be happy to count from 1 to 1 million, repeatedly all day long. That's
Wow.
what they do. And let me give you
Wow.
an example. We have a customer, national, or sorry, an international MSSP out of Denver, Colorado. And in one of their environments, they had in 1 month, they had 40 million alerts. 40
Ooh,
million. All
ooh,
right.
wow.
So how do you deal with that, right?
Yeah.
And they deployed Radiant Security, and with that, we minimized it to 40
Wow.
alerts. So this is about 1 in 1 million was true positive that they needed to deal with. And now this is actionable, for a large environment. Dealing with 40 things a month is highly actionable, highly doable, and that's how they can continue scaling their business.
All right. That's great to know because alert fatigue is real, and that's why companies have problems because techs get tired of looking at alerts. And
Exactly.
Shahar, is does your AI only work with the SOC? Does it work with the RMM alerts? You know, the regular network alerts, such as servers reaching 90 percentile on storage or whatever. It's not looking at that those type of things, is it?
No, we're focused on security. So we're
Okay.
not focusing on the operational stuff. However, if a security tool, is expecting that this data generated is relating to a potential attack, then that's within the scope for us.
Gotcha.
But we're not looking at operational aspects like, lack of disk space capacity or memory capacity, etc.
Got it. Got it.
I
Cool.
wanted to add one more thing. I wanted to ask you. We kind of take you back for a second into the alert fatigue topic that you mentioned. And so when you think about, alert fatigue, I claim it turned into alert ignorance.
Hmm.
And if I take you back to the example that I provided, nobody can look at 40 million alerts in 1 month. Like nobody.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
all turns into ignorance, which basically means you're rolling the dice every day.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's okay, to roll the dice. We all do it in our lives. But as business owners, as business leaders, we have to always reduce risk, and hence, rolling the dice every day is not acceptable. And we need to turn this into a machine that eventually can do this repeatedly without getting tired, without needing to, go to sleep. Uh, and eat and do all those things, because it can simply do it for you and leave just the most sophisticated things for the people to work on.
Well, I'll use myself as an example because there's some days when I get 30, 40 texts, right, directly to my cell phone. And I know it's not at the scale as you, or they're not as important as a security alert. But boy, I just start to ignore them. I'm like, I'm not going to answer that. I don't even want to look at my phone sometimes because I know it's personal, or it's family mess. I'm part of a family group thread, and they get chit chatting, and it's like, I really don't need to be viewing every message that comes in. So I can understand how alert fatigue can really drain an organization. It can drain. It can be demoralizing because it's just it can cause a lot of stress. So
Yeah.
the AI, I just it's just remarkable how advanced the AI has become. So I
Yeah.
love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
And MSPs has lots of work that cannot be fully automated, right? Going into a new customer, doing all the work that MSPs do, which include architecture, configuration, provisioning of, new technologies, deployment of agents, physical deployments of firewalls. AI will never be able to put a firewall in a rack.
Yeah.
Like it's just
Yeah.
never going to be able to do that, and that is something that the MSPs are on the front lines to do every day. And we need to help them in other ways, to take things off their plate so they can continue doing the things that they have to do with their staff, in person for their customers.
Yep. Yep. I get it. Greg, you've been pretty
Cool.
quiet over there. You have any questions, or
Yeah,
because
so how does your product stack up against your competitors in regards to disk space and the usage of log files that grow, and retention? And if you're providing a one-stop service, how do you deal with logs and log files?
Yeah, great question. Let me start, from the bottom line. We don't charge by the volume. We don't charge by the volume of data. We only charge by the number of users and endpoints that the MSP is supporting, because this is aligned with how most MSPs charge their customers. And so we'll, connect to the products that they have, as I mentioned before, their endpoint product, their network product. We have developed and patented, look us up online, Radiant Security Patents. We have patented a way to store this data very efficiently, because as I mentioned earlier, we are storing this data to get to the outcomes that I mentioned, and optimizing the storage of this data for the outcomes I mentioned is not cost effective, despite what other vendor is not expensive, despite of what other customers or other vendors are telling you. When you optimize it and when you know what you need it for, you can store it very efficiently, and that's what we do. And so we don't charge for that, because that's not the main value that we provide. The main value we provide is those outcomes.
Well, that's a big line item for a lot of your competitors, because they're charging by the the gig per month, per
Yeah,
year
I'm happy to
storage.
take some of
That's
them out of
huge.
business.
Yes, that should take some of them out of business. Now, the next question is that when I do setup of my SIEM and my security stack, I'm sitting there for days and days and days configuring and configuring and configuring, and then at the end of it, I've got to create some sort of a view of some kind of visual, because humans are visual, right?
Yeah.
What do you do there? How do you provide your end customers with some kind of pane of glass? Everybody calls it the pane of glass. What does your pane of glass look like?
Yeah, so let me answer first the configuration question. And so we have decided to connect directly to your end product in order to simplify it. Why? Because when you have things like remote ingestion nodes and site collectors and all these things, what that means for the vendor is that every setup is different. And now you need to spend 80% of your time on just massaging the data. But for us, we made a strategic decision when we started the company to take the data directly from the source, and then it always looked the same for us, and we can interpret it automatically. You as an MSP or an end customer don't need to configure anything beyond credentials on how we get the data, or send data over syslog when things do not have APIs.
Wow,
But again,
that's
this is we recently deployed for a 12,000 user company. You can imagine what's the complexity of their environment, and the deployment took less than an hour. Okay, and
Wow.
it operation was
Wow.
right away.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah. Now let me answer the question about single pane of glass, right? And people love to ask about this, and we're doing two things here. The first thing is we aggregate all these alerts into our product, so you can see in our product all the alerts with all the context, with everything that have happened, including all those alerts that we have determined that are benign and you should not take action on them. We're super accurate. We'll show you exactly what we have done, what our AI has done to come to the conclusion that it got to. Okay, so all of these things are there for you in the product. You can search for them, and what we're seeing is that people search it for the first few days or weeks, and then they have the confidence and stop searching for things that we've decided that are benign. And then you can also, moreover, you can take action directly within our product. If you need to isolate a host, if you need to block a URL, if you need to do, dozens of other things, this is all within our product. You never need to leave our product. You just click a button and it happens. We'll explain to you exactly what happens, but you can simply do it with a click of a button. And once you feel, confident with that, you can take it to the next phase. You can create a workflow that next time it happens, it will fully automate it because now you trust it. And more than 50% of our customers have already done this. They've fully automated things and there's no person in the loop. And last but not least, on the single pane of glass, I know that MSPs are always on the hook to prove that they provide value. Your customers are holding you to very high standards, and we're fully aware of that. So we've created a report, that you can download and print at any time and hand it to your customers that literally shows what you have done for them in security in the last 30 days, whatever you want to show them, and it shows them how many alerts you received, you triaged, how many went into incidents, how many of these have you actioned, what is still open. It shows you efficiency of the security tools. Is this firewall very efficient? Is this endpoint solution, very efficient? And it shows all those things that you can share to your customer, and they can and your customer can go and use it to justify continue spending this money with you.
great. That sounds like magic.
It is magic. I and I encourage everybody who wants to see this in action, they can log into our website, radiansecurity.ai, or they can reach out to us, and we'll be happy to show them a deeper dive. We have customers all the way from international MSSPs with millions of endpoints under management, down to companies with down to MSPs who support a few dozen customers, each one of them with 100 or 200 endpoints.
Awesome.
Awesome. Awesome. That's great. Greg, I've exhausted all my questions. Do you have anything else you want to add or?
No, it sounds like we need to do some demos.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And you know what? We're gonna have a webinar with Shahar and his team in a few weeks. So he'll be putting his platform on display so everybody can see how magical this platform is. So
Yeah, absolutely.
looking forward to that.
Absolutely, me too. I enjoy the the discussion with you guys, and hope that we can help many MSPs really become more efficient and scale their business, because at the end of the day, everybody wants to make money.
Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, money is nice. Money is nice. Well, Shahar, thanks for joining us today. I appreciate you making time for us. I'm ready to wrap this up unless you want to share something else.
Thank you, Fernando and Gregory. I really enjoyed the discussion, and looking forward for the webinar.
Awesome. Well, if anybody wants to look up Radiant Security, they're at radiantsecurity.ai. And I'm sure you can reach out to Shahar if you have any questions through the website. But Shahar, thanks again for joining us. We're looking forward to the webinar. And I want to thank all the listeners for tuning in, and looking forward to our next show. You guys have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening. And don't forget to sign up to be a member on www.mspcorner.com. Please share our link with a CEO who will find our information beneficial to their business. Have an awesome day.